Part 2. Number 6. Fill her up! With a lot of nothing makes sense. So again in this film we're told about those wacky, fun adventures that Anakin and Obi-Wan have that we don't get to see.
You owe me one, and not for saving your skin for the 10th time.
9th time.
And just like in the last film, Anakin hangs around with Padme while Obi-Wan goes off on a mission by himself that's pointless to the ultimate conclusion of the story. This is what they call filler. And it's nowhere near as good as the kind they put in Twinkies. I like to fuck my cat. You see, General Grievous himself is pointless filler, and I'm not sure I even understand him. He's obviously a pawn of Sidious, right? And Sidious is Palpatine. And Palpatine's goal is to keep being voted more and more power, right? But yet he helps establish a centralized leader of the opposition. And then they say this.
And I assure you, the Senate will vote to continue the war as long as Grievous is alive.
Well, if the war is over, then that could end the need for a supreme, all-powerful chancellor that has more control over the Senate.
If he does not give up his emergency powers after the destruction of Grievous, then he should be removed from office.
Hey, how about this?
The robot armies are controlled by a yet unseen force, Master Jedi. This war could go on forever.
Except for whatever reason he tells Anakin to tell the Jedi where Grievous is.
Our clone intelligence units have discovered the location of General Grievous.
I guess so that Obi-Wan could go away and that Palpatine could have more alone time with Anakin to try and sway him over to the dark side. But then when Obi-Wan finally kills Grievous, Palpatine then springs his trap to have all the clone troopers kill the Jedis. And then he blames the Jedis for trying to take over. Why didn't he just do that before? What would he have done if Grievous escaped again? Or if Samuel L. Jackson didn't confront him and then he melted his own face? When was he going to spring this trap anyways if all these events didn't occur? What if Grievous got killed and then they said resign? What, was he going to just take out a lightsaber then? Then why didn't he just take out a lightsaber before?
We'll be able to capture that monster and end this war.
So what motivation, now that the war is over, would the Jedis have to try and take over? And it's really apparent by his actions that Palpatine is the one who's trying to take over. I mean, he is trying to be the Supreme Chancellor forever. Is everyone blind and stupid? Which leads me to my next point, number 7. Is everyone blind and stupid? Every character is dumb, but who's the dumbest? Let's find out. Just how stupid is Yoda? So Yoda might be a powerful Jedi, but wise he is not. Get it? I did like a Yoda thing. Besides always having a look of utter confusion on his face about everything all the time, Yoda seems to have no ability to use the Force other than to throw rocks.
I think it is time we inform the Senate that our ability to use the Force is diminished.
If Palpatine can diminish his ability to use the Force, then why is that only limited to the mental and not the physical? Anyway, when Anakin is raging with frustration and worry about Padme's inexplicable impending murder by pregnancy, Yoda can't tell that Anakin is 1. Hiding something really big. 2. Is madly in love with hot pants Padme. 3. Is just teeming with irritation and frustration at the Jedi and at every aspect of his life. I guess the dark side clouds everything, but by just looking at the guy I can tell all sorts of things are wrong. And I'm no psychologist. In fact, I threw my last psychologist out a window for asking about my dear mother.
Bury them under the floorboards, Harry. No one has to know. It'll be our little secret.
So how stupid is Yoda? The guy is like sweating and he looks evil. Like the concept that Palpatine is clouding everyone's minds basically makes all the characters null and void and utterly stupid. Does his mind clouding ability have a range? Like when Yoda is on Kashyyyk, is he like, hey, wait a minute, it all makes sense now. Palpatine's behind it all.
Unfortunately, the debate is not over. The Senate will never approve the use of clones before the Separatists attack.
This is a crisis. The Senate must vote the Chancellor emergency powers. He can then approve the creation of an army.
The entire Senate is filled with stupid idiots. Yeah, okay, that's true, yes. But I was talking about this Senate. Okay, so during the fight scene with Samuel L. Jackson, Palpatine's own electrical discharges either melt his face or reveal his true form as some kind of really old monster. I'm not sure which because the film doesn't tell us. I always thought the Emperor was just kind of really old in Jedi and just kind of looked bad. But now he has a giant, puffy, inflamed monster face. Luke had lightning all over his face, but it didn't turn his face into a puffy monster face. But anyway, he tells the Senate that the Jedi, an organization of monks that have been the guardians of peace and justice for over 1,000 generations, have suddenly decided to take over the world. Oh, and I just also happen to look and sound like a monster that wants to take over the world. Don't mind my creepy black cloak, my horribly evil sounding voice, or terrifying face. Also, don't mind the fact that I'm yelling about creating a galactic empire run exclusively by me. No, you see, it's the Jedi that are the ones who tried to take over. And that warranted them all being executed by the army that I control by myself without any kind of trial in the courts to prove that what I'm saying is true. Yep, we just killed them all, including the children. And then we burned down their temple, and you're all just gonna have to take my word for it. Trust me, look at my face. Would this face lie to you? You see, I've successfully eliminated the only opposition I might have had to form my own galactic empire. Please continue with the applause. So remember to vote Palpatine in the next election that will never happen, because I said so. Now, is he controlling everyone's minds, or is the Senate that stupid? Even the genius Padme is listening intently and not sure what's real or not. And Padme is a brilliant genius.
We cannot let 1,000 years of democracy disappear.
Wait, hold on. Is it 1,000 years or 1,000 generations?
I will not let this republic that has stood for 1,000 years be split in two.
You know, when writing my review, I originally wrote years. Then I had the sense to go back and check out what Obi-Wan said in Star Wars.
For over 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace and justice in the Old Republic.
Oh. You know, there's a big difference between a year and a generation. Maybe George Lucas should have gone back and looked at what they said before filming the fucking movie. General Grievous is a stupid, dumb, retarded idiot. So Palpatine orders Grievous to move all the Separatist leaders to Mustafar.
It is a volcanic planet. You will be safe here.
Grievous is apparently a military leader because he has the rank of general, but he just says yes.
It will be done, my lord.
Without even thinking about it. Instead, he should probably say, that sounds like a great place for some kind of ambush if they were to discover where all of the Separatist leaders are. On that subject, wouldn't it be smarter to spread them out all over the place so that...
Stop asking completely logical questions.
Yes, Lord Sidious. Wait, who are you again? And where are you from?
You don't need to know who I am or where I'm broadcasting this hologram from. Just do what I say.
Where are my pants?
I have a pair of pantaloons for you to wear. They're stylish.
Who are you?
Stop asking me who I am.
Obi-Wan Kenobi is a stupid asshole idiot head. Obi-Wan Kenobi is a stupid dumb asshole too. I already mentioned how he says stupid things in the beginning, but then he rides around on some kind of dinosaur for some reason, and now all of a sudden he enjoys showing off in this movie.
Hello there.
Instead of waiting 3 minutes for the clone troopers to arrive and using his surprise advantage to kill Grievous and end the war,
patience. Use the Force. Think.
He foolishly jumps into the middle of a bunch of bad robots to apparently challenge Grievous to a duel or something. All them robots could have just started shooting him to death. Then Obi-Wan just stands there while Grievous takes like 15 seconds to remove his cape, unhinge all of his arms, and grab all of his lightsabers. Obi-Wan could have lunged at him and cut his head off in like 1 second. Eventually, though, after another pointless, unexciting, tensionless, sterile, dull, consequence-free, lame, tiring, visually exhausting chase scene, Obi-Wan does kill Grievous with the blaster by shooting him in his heart.
So uncivilized.
No, decapitating people is uncivilized. And I'm also sorry that you're so stupid that you failed to see the obvious tactical advantages of a projectile weapon when it just saved your retarded ass. The Jedi Council are all stupid fools and they don't know what they're doing.
I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi. I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi.
So the Jedi have their dumb meeting to talk about things. One of the topics is who's going to go to kill Grievance. Remember, killing this guy will end the war. So they pick Obi-Wan over Anakin for no real reason when they both could have gone. They both went to rescue Palpatine, right? But then they decide to give Anakin the mission to spy on the Chancellor instead.
It's very dangerous putting them together.
Hey, well then don't put them together. Why don't you spy on him by watching the security holograms that record what's going on in his office? But again, using Jedi wisdom, they just send one guy to go kill the main bad guy. So is it wiser to send Yoda to observe a totally pointless battle between robots and Sasquatches? Or is he better off going to the place where Grievous might be and helping to kill him? How important can holding the Wookiee planetary system for another day really be? The brilliant script does have an excuse for this lack of logic, and it's this.
However, it may turn out just to be a wild bantha chase.
Oh, that's a good reason just to send one guy. What if it's not a wild bantha chase? Also, who's in charge of this war? Who's like the George Washington here? Is it Yoda? Is it the Jedi Council? It seems like they're in charge because they keep talking strategy.
We're keepers of the peace, not soldiers.
I can't fight a war for you.
What about the droid attack on the Wookiees?
So if the Conehead guy didn't remember to mention the Wookiee planet, they probably all just would have forgot about it. They're like, oh yeah, that's super important, isn't it?
He's right. It's a system we cannot afford to lose.
It's like he just casually brings that up and that one line changes where everyone's gonna go. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've ever wondered how a war would be run by disorganized hippies, here it is. Then, as if their strategic decisions don't make the Jedi Council look dumb enough as it is, how they deal with the power-hungry Chancellor makes them look even more dumberer.
The dark side of the Force surrounds the Chancellor.
The opportunities to stop Palpatine's plan and prevent Anakin from becoming evil were so numerous and obvious that they could be put in a giant list. Let's do that, shall we? 1. Tell Palpatine that his term is up. If he changed the law, argue to make a new law to change it back. Then ask him to state his reasons why it shouldn't be changed back. Ask him to explain why he in particular is so qualified to conduct a war. Use the process against him. Have Jimmy Smits call for a vote of no confidence in Palpatine if step 1 doesn't work. The reasoning is that if Palpatine doesn't resign, then he would be fighting for an unlimited term for no good reason. He would be going against the very foundation and ideology of a government run by democratically elected officials based on some set of rules or a constitution.
I love democracy.
Find out facts about the clone army. Look into where the clones came from a little more thoroughly than not at all. Look into his heart. If you suspect Palpatine is up to no good, try to sense his emotions. If he's able to block you, he just might know the ways of the Force. Specifically the dark side. Midichlorian count. Check his midichlorian count. Get some blood from his stool. Physically confront Palpatine. Or instead of confronting Palpatine inside his private cramped office hallway, wait until he's in public to arrest him. Eventually he'll try to escape or attack you, and then he'll be exposed in front of everyone. If he doesn't, then you can actually arrest him like planned and elect a new leader in his place. Use blatantly obvious evidence to your advantage. Before confronting Palpatine with a lightsaber, again in private with no witnesses, show the damning security tape footage to the Senate, which is actually in session at the time you find it, or take it to some place and broadcast it over the news. But if you need to directly confront him, then at the very least, team up together and murder him.
Send me to kill the Emperor. I will not kill Anakin.
Instead of splitting up, Obi-Wan and Yoda should have first attacked Palpatine and then went and killed Anakin. How's that for wise? Put me in the council, coach. I'm ready. Newt Gunray is the stupidest asshole ever. This fucking idiot has been around for 3 films and is the dumbest person in the galaxy.
She can't do that. Shoot her or something!
In The Phantom Menace, he was involved in a pointless business arrangement with a distant hologram that looked like death and placed into a situation where him and his Trade Federation were obviously being used as pawns in this guy's plans. Then he gets arrested for causing a galactic war and yet somehow reappears in the second film. Now he agrees to yet again take part in another scheme by the same hologram that looks like death. This time his only reason for doing this is that he wants Padme killed because he apparently blames her for the whole Naboo fiasco, not that guy.
Is she dead yet?
So even though Newt and his extensive trade federation that's large enough to conduct a war probably could have mustered the resources for a simple assassination, he again relies on Darth Evil to take care of it so that the plot for the second film can get going. However, in the third film, Newt Gunray is still going along for the ride with all these jokers. Even though no one has yet to kill Padme, and he seems to be getting nothing out of this arrangement other than the destruction of all his Trade Federation ships and robots. Hey Newt, you're being had. It's time to stop making decisions, buddy, okay? It's time to retire. You know, hang up the old hat that you're wearing. Oh, I guess he died then. Anakin is even more dumber than Newt Gunray. So the dumbest prize award goes to none other than Anakin Skywalker.
I don't know what to say.
Anakin wasn't really seduced by the dark side. He was tricked into becoming evil.
I don't understand.
I'm not gonna die in childbirth, Annie.
That or Anakin is the dumbest person ever.
What do you mean?
For example, Anakin discovers that Padme is pregnant. He then has a dream that same night that she'll die in childbirth. Yes, Jedis have premonitions about the future.
It is the future, you see.
Future?
And I guess he had a dream about his mother getting raped by sand people. So anyway, sitting there with Palpatine, and Palpatine's talking about the Sith again.
The Dark Lord of the Sith.
And we're like, why does this guy know so much about the Sith? It's like being in a casual conversation with someone that you've known, and then they start talking about how they're currently reading Mein Kampf. You might just raise an eyebrow and be like, wait, what did you just say? About Mein Kampf? But instead, the fact that this guy starts talking about the Sith and the legend of Darth Plagueis or whatever, Anakin is just sitting there like a retard. Oh, can I still say retard? Anakin is just sitting there like an exceptional individual. Then he talks about a magic trick to save people from dying.
He could actually save people from death.
I will even learn to stop people from dying.
Wow, that's pretty convenient timing, Anakin. I'm willing to bet money that if Palpatine had said,
"You know, Anakin, the Sith Lords have the ability to save pregnant women from dying during childbirth."
I bet even if he said those exact words, Anakin still would have just sat there looking like a retarded Neanderthal. Oh, can I still say Neanderthal?
Good as a point of view, Anakin. The Sith and the Jedi are similar in almost every way.
Hey, idiot. Maybe this guy that seems to despise the Jedi and keeps talking about the advantages of being a Sith Lord might be a Sith Lord.
A Sith Lord?
Yes, the one we've been looking for.
And they've been actively looking for the Sith Lord. Who could it have been? Could it be this guy? Or what about this guy? Or maybe it could have been this lady. Or maybe it was a pig. So if this were the Dark Ages, maybe Padme might have died during childbirth. I'm not an expert on the subject though. In fact, I'm not an expert on anything. But really, in this technological medical wonderland, how about you do a C-section with your lightsaber? Seems to be pretty accurate with it. I guess this is all just a matter of perspective. But again, it falls in line with the fact that just the basic amount of common sense would have foiled all of Palpatine's plans in an instant. Eventually, though, Palpatine has to flat out tell him that he's evil because he can't take a hint.
Even the nature of the dark side.
Even Ray Charles could see that coming. And he doesn't know anything about Star Wars. Then an awkward fight ensues and Anakin is forced to make a decision. Help Samuel L. Jackson in a robe, or help this weird guy with the weird monster face who just told you a very vague story about how he once knew a guy who knew how to save someone from dying or something. Well, the choice is clear. So long, Samuel. I hope you burn in hell. Oh, geez. I hope he had a stunt double for that. Anyway, so Anakin kneels before Monster Mash and pledges his loyalty to the Graveyard Smash. But like, there's a reason for him to pledge his loyalty to evil, right? And all of it was sort of involving saving Padme.
Just help me save Padme's life.
Then Dracula is like,
To cheat death is a power only one has achieved. But if we work together, I know we can discover the secret.
Wait. What? Can't we do it like now? My lady's got a pretty big baby bump, and she does deliver 2 full-size babies in like 6 hours from now. Also, you never said it was a secret. Oh, I've been tricked. Holy shit, what have I done? I just killed Samuel L. Jackson for this shit. Who's gonna play Nick Fury in the Avengers movie? So despite the questionable logic and the very convenient timing of Palpatine's promise to save Padme from dying during childbirth, Dumbass agrees to just go off and kill everyone to neatly tie everything up, even though to him none of it would actually make sense.
Go to the Mustafar system, wipe out Viceroy Gunray.
Wait, why are we killing the Separatists? And how do you know where they are? Why didn't you just tell us where they were before?
After you have killed all the Jedi in the temple.
Oh, now we're killing all the Jedi too? Wait, what? Should I kill the entire Senate as well? Wait, who am I not killing besides Padme? Vader's pretty fucking dumb. Oh, it's done. Excuse me just a moment. Perfect. Number 8, Blue Screen Blues. The magic of technology ruins the magic of movies. Now, I may be a very old alcoholic murderer, but I understand the need to shoot stuff on a blue screen, also known as a green screen by racists. It's a necessary tool for compositing shots together to make the new modern movie magic happen. They've been doing tricks like that since the early days of cinema, with rear screen projections, matte paintings, and so on. A lot of modern filmmakers have done some really great work with the green screen and compositing and computers. If you know what you're doing, you could seamlessly blend everything together, or create a movie that has a visual style to it. Depends on the movie though. They don't film romantic comedies against green screens. And it's not a good idea to try and pass off every single environment as a real environment. The human eye can detect fakeness really well. It's not too hard. The irony in Star Wars is that even though we see the most vast and open scenery generated by a computer, I just know that the actors are being filmed in a smaller space and restricted. It just doesn't feel right, and it shatters my suspension of disbelief constantly because it doesn't look real. Here's a couple examples, and I'm not sure what to pin this on, the use of the green screen or just poor direction. But it's a good example of why the prequels suck. Okay, so like the most important thing ever happens. Anakin tells Samuel L. Jackson that Palpatine is a Sith, and that he's gonna get them all.
I think Chancellor Palpatine is a Sith Lord.
A Sith Lord? We must move quickly if the Jedi Order is to survive.
Then they just start walking at what can't even be described as a brisk pace. Yawn. Now in comparison, let's take a look at a scene from that recent Star Trek movie.
Jim, I'm not kidding. We need to keep your heart rate down.
When Kirk realizes that they're warping into a trap. How about a sudden swell of action music as they run and the camera follows behind them in a frantic pace to gather other Jedis to go confront Palpatine? I don't know. Maybe Samuel was being discreet or whatever, but the other way just sounds more exciting in a movie. I mean, we're not making straight story, right? But they probably just had like 30 feet of green screen and track to work with, and those are the lines that they had to say, I guess. I guess it just would have been a lot harder to film if you had a camera with the Steadicam and they were running through the Jedi Temple and it was all action-packed and stuff. That would mean Lucas would have to get off his chair and stop drinking his coffee, and they would have to move all the monitors and things. Whatever doesn't require me to have to get off my chair or have to move all this shit. Don't worry about the audience. As long as you're comfortable while you're directing the film, that's all that matters. Just have them talking in front of the green screen and use 2 cameras to shoot reverse angles and have them say the lines and just get the scene over with. Just sit in the chair with your coffee and watch those monitors. Because then if you don't gotta get up, it makes it easier.
It is his way of actually trying to make the best possible film that he can.
Okay, and cut. Okay, great.
Another pretty clear example of green screen disadvantage is when the actors don't know what they're doing.
Whoa!
Like when Obi-Wan confronts Grievous. I'm gonna guess they just had Ewan McDonald standing there looking into green nothingness, and someone was telling him that Grievous was right there. Well, like, the thing is, he lights up all of his swords and does kind of this, like, karate show-off stance thing, but it happens quickly, right in front of Obi-Wan's face. Grievous could have just lunged right at him super fast and cut him up into like 20 pieces. He doesn't even flinch or react to this. He just stands there, probably because Ewan had no idea what he was supposed to be looking at that particular second. This kind of stuff stands out to me, and it takes me out of the movie because it looks fake. You know what else takes me out of the movie? My spastic colon. So that's what the doctors meant by unexpected fecal release. I did write a letter to the staff at the Cedar Lane Cinema, apologizing for the mess. And even though they did clean up a half a gallon of my feces, they seemed to think I was referring to the movie.
Dear Mr. Plinkett, there's no need to personally apologize for the mess that was Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. It certainly wasn't your fault. Additionally, we do thank you for your kind words about our staff and the wonderful cleanup job they did when your spastic colon suddenly released a half a gallon of fecal matter onto the floor of our cinema. We would have never expected that one man could eat so much corn. Please accept our sincerest apologies for your film viewing experience. Sincerely, Cedar Lane Cinema Management, Teaneck, New Jersey.
Well, wasn't that nice of them? The last example is the opposite of restriction, and if you spend enough time and effort on a sequence, you can literally do amazing things with your characters and put them anywhere. Let's look at that Mustafar fight. Obi-Wan is mad at Anakin because he killed children, also known as younglings, so that we don't have to use the phrase killed children in a movie made for children. And then Anakin is mad at Obi-Wan because Obi-Wan's a meanie head. So they fight, and they fight, and they fight more, and they keep fighting.
It was a challenge in the Anakin fight, because 3 or 4 minutes in, you get over the initial explosion of the fight, of why they're fighting.
He basically says that the character's emotional state is no longer important because the fucking fight goes on for too long. They explain in excruciating detail just how much work went into shooting a sequence like this, and it's quite amazing the level of difficulty and complexity. All to make a sequence that the audience will ultimately find boring because there's nothing else going on other than that they're fighting. While the blue screen restricts in some cases when you don't want to spend too much time on those boring talking parts, here it can cause creativity overload. Look, I know shooting on location is a horrible pain in the ass and can get expensive. And I got respect for Lucas for the shit he went through making the original Star Wars film. But really, the notion that bigger and more epic equals more emotion for some reason is just a fallacy. When I watch footage of George making these movies, I see a few things. I see a man that likes to keep pushing the envelope of visual effects, and a man that likes to film scenes in the comfort of a controlled environment while drinking his coffee and watching monitors.
Let's do this the old-fashioned way.
Hey, you guys see that one James Bond movie called Die Another Day? There's a pretty awesome sword fight in that movie. The neat thing about this scene is that it feels real. The guys get tired and bloody, and it really seems like they're fighting, and not just endlessly hitting each other with glow sticks inside of a video game. With this sequence, it took 58,000 people to make. 917,000 man-hours, and 243 million hours of computer animation. They weren't working on some complicated construction project. It was just a scene in a movie where two guys fight. They could have gone up to the side of some volcano somewhere and filmed them fighting there. Have a guy there with the smoke machine, in a wide shot add in a map painting background or a computer background. Have a guy pouring fake lava down the rocks when they're fighting, and have the scene be 5 minutes. The point is, Anakin loses. Stretching it out for so long in such an over-the-top, show-off way only makes me think of one thing. I think of a little middle-aged businessman who's short, he's balding, and he has a tiny penis, so he buys a red Lamborghini to compensate. This entire sequence is the film version of compensating for lack of a story and ability to connect with the audience on an emotional level. Now, I ain't saying Lucas has a tiny penis. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying. This is an anal G. Oh god, this has gone too far. I've gone too far in a few places. And there are two types of people in this world. People that understand what I'm saying, and people that like the Star Wars prequels. Okay, that's enough for right now.